please don't delete years and years of waypoints off your unit and then come yelling at me about it. Make sure you're comfortable with computers and what you're doing before you go through this. It's not hard, but if you don't know what you're doing, you could lose all your stuff. So make sure you make backups and you're comfortable with the cloud drive you're using. Yeah, I don't want anyone coming after me because you delete all your waypoints. While I was making this little video, I actually deleted all my stuff off of my unit, but luckily I had a backup of it, so it wasn't a big deal. I'll even copy all my stuff to a second SD card and keep it with me on a trip, so you know, if what I did didn't work, I can at least go back to my old card and use that. But again, if you're semi-familiar with computers and know how to follow directions, this shouldn't be too tough, and then should really help, so check it out. So first thing you need to do is go to EasyGPS.com, download EasyGPS and install it on your PC. This is for Windows. I don't really know about Mac, so that's on you. In terms of Windows, I'll assume you know what you're doing as far as installing programs, copying, pasting, moving data from hard drives to SD cards to your unit, etc., stuff like that. So go ahead and do that, get that, install it, get it all going. So the first thing we need to do is open up EasyGPS. Now that we have it installed, let it load up. Once we're in here, we're going to want to go to Edit up here and to Preferences. And here in Preferences, you'll see all sorts of little tabs up here. We want to be under My GPS Receiver. So once you're there, you want to go ahead and add GPS. See on the left side there's several companies listed, and underneath each company is a model for that company. We have a Lowrance, so we're going to go to Lowrance. We're going to go to, we passed it, Elite Ti2, hit OK, and now we see our unit set up in here. So we go ahead and hit OK, and now we're ready to get our. So for this demonstration, we're going to be using an Elite Ti2. These directions should work for all modern Lowrances and all those that are listed in EasyGPS. So go ahead and turn on your unit, let all the maps load, all the waypoints load, let it stabilize, let it sit for a few minutes. Don't just go pushing buttons while it's trying to load stuff. Once it's loaded, go ahead and hit the Pages button. On the Pages page on the left-hand side, you're going to want to scroll down to where it says Files. Go ahead and click that. So on the Files screen, go ahead and click where it says Waypoints, Routes, and Trails. When that menu pops up, we're going to want to export all of our waypoints and trails. So we can either hit Export, that's going to export everything on our unit, or we can do Export Region, which we're going to do here. This is going to just cover the lake that we fished today. In the next screen, we're going to be asked what region that we want to export the waypoints and information from. Go ahead and drag it around, make it as big or as small as you want to encompass the data that you want. Once you have all your data in the square, go ahead and export. It's in the top right corner. In the export screen, you just leave everything the way it is and hit export. There are different versions you can save in if you have many different units and you want to go across them. I always pick 4. So now your unit's going to ask you where you want to save the data. In this case, we're going to save it on our memory card in the main root directory. Hit OK, and we're going to be asked if we want to override a previous file or make a new file. In this case, we're going to make a new file. You can name the data file anything you want. I usually use the date or something that I'm going to remember by the name that I use. When you're done naming it, hit enter, and it's going to export and copy that data to your SD card. So now we can take that data off of the SD card and work with it in EasyGPS. If you want to look, you can go back into Files and look under your SD card, and you can see where the file we saved is. We now have our data on our SD card, so we're going to take that out of our unit, put it in our computer, open up EasyGPS, and we want to go to Receive up here. It's going to ask us what we want to receive from our data. I click everything and just leave it. Down here where it says GPS settings, if you have multiple units, they'll be listed here. I just have one, so there's just one listed. Go ahead and hit OK. Now we need to go to our SD card and find our data that we saved. Now we see our 3 waypoints that we made today on the lake. Lame icons, no real nice names. So let's edit our waypoints to make them better. We can right click each one and edit them, or we can select them all and edit them in one batch process. So let's go to edit waypoints. First thing we want to do is we want to change the icon. Let's do a little fish. Name on GPS, let's say fish 06, nice trout. Hit OK. Now it saved that waypoint. Now it took us to the next one. And you just do that for each waypoint. This label on map, that's what it's going to show on here. Name on GPS is what you want to change. That's what it's going to show when you put it back on your unit. And if you pick the right unit, the waypoint, the icons are going to match your unit. So when you export this data back to your unit, it's going to take that with it. So now all 3 of our waypoints are edited, ready to go back onto our unit. So we can do this one of 2 ways. We can pick each icon for the waypoint and send it to our GPS, or we can just go up here and go to send. It's going to ask you what you want to send. We want to send 3 waypoints to our Lowrance 9 Ti. Hit OK. It's going to ask where we want to save it. We're going to save it back to our GPS card. We're going to name it the same thing as it was when we imported it, but we're going to say new. We're going to say save. Now it's back on our SD card. Now that the data is on our SD card, I also like to save a copy to my hard drive. So to do that, I want to go to save. This is going to save it as a GPX file. So we're going to save it to our backup location. Give it today's date. Say save. That's in GPX. Now we can do to send, and we can do just like we do with our SD card, but instead of saving it to our SD card, we'll save it to our backup drive, to our cloud drive, so we have that for safekeeping. Now you have 2 backups, and you have a copy on your SD card. So go ahead and put your SD card back in your unit, fire it up, let everything load. And then like before, go to your pages and then files, and we want to browse to our memory card. Once we click memory card, we can now see our file. Go ahead and click your file. It's going to ask if we want to import or copy. We want to import. Are we sure we want to import? Yes, we're sure. Click yes. And boom, 3 new waypoints imported. So now if we go back to our main chart screen, we'll see our 3 waypoints with the nice names and the nice icons. I know the icons in this example don't match the names that I did earlier in EasyGPS. That's no fault of the program, that was all me. I just made new screenshots that looked better, I thought, and didn't match the names to the ones I made earlier, but assure that the program will carry it over. One thing I will say though, that when you do import all these changed icons, it doubles the icons on your unit. So once I know that the files are going to load properly and they overlay with the old ones, and that I have a good backup file, I like to go back to that export screen and hit delete all. This is going to delete all the waypoints and tracks, trails off of my unit, not my SD card. The file on my SD card is safe if I do this. This just deletes everything off of your unit. Now that all the waypoints are off of my unit, I can go back through the process of going to my SD card and importing that nice file I made with the nice names and the icons, and not have to worry about the doubled up waypoints. If anyone knows a way around that, let me know. I know you can set the obviously I don't suggest doing this until you're comfortable with EasyGPS, copying and pasting things back and forth from hard drives, cloud drives, having safe backups. Yeah, don't go delete all your shit off your unit then come yelling at me. They also have a version called expertGPS, which is it's a paid program. It's awesome though, lots of features. But for simple fishing stuff, this EasyGPS works pretty well. Anyways, if you have any questions, let me know. Just leave a comment. I'm pretty familiar with this program as far as doing this. I'm also familiar with Lowrance units, so if you have any questions about that, I could probably help too. All right, cool. Bye.